Leadership crisis rocking the Rivers State chapter of the All Progressive Congress has taken a fresh twist, with two rival factions interpreting a recent Court of Appeal ruling to suit their opposing claims to legitimacy. On Friday, the Port Harcourt division of the Court of Appeal ruled on an appeal filed by the APC's National Executive Committee against a High Court injunction restraining the party from conducting its congresses in Rivers State. The appellate court held that issues concerning the internal affairs and leadership of a political party are not justiciable, thereby nullifying the earlier High Court order and striking out the suit filed by Peter Ohochukwu on behalf of the dissolved State Working Committee led by Emeka Bekee. In a swift reaction, the faction loyal to Chief Tony Okocha celebrated the judgment as a victory and a validation of its leadership, with the faction's publicity secretary, Chibuike Ikenga, claiming in a statement that the decision has reaffirmed Tony Okocha as the party's chairman in the state. However, in a counter statement, the Emeka Bekee faction dismissed the interpretation of the judgment by the Okocha camp as misleading and false, with their own publicity secretary, Darlington Wuju, clarifying that the Court of Appeal ruling was merely on an interlocutory appeal and did not invalidate the subsisting High Court judgment affirming Bekee's leadership. He also held that the ruling did not disturb the judgment delivered by Justice Sika Aprioku on August 12, 2024, which validated the tenure of the Bekee-led executive until October 21, 2025. Ugochukwu, Ifanichukwu.
Yes.
What do you make of this development?
This is politics in play, and power play, intra-party play. But the Supreme Court has done with this, and given what I know, that political parties are owned by the national. Political parties are owned by the national. So, where is Emeka Bekee as it is now, who parades himself as the chair of the APC in Rivers State? If the national calls for chairman meeting, who will be the representative? Who will be representing Rivers State? So when politicians, go about deceiving their gullible followers and making them not to see the clearer picture of what the lines of the constitutions of their political parties are saying, I mean, it baffles me. Look at what is happening in Labour Party. The same thing. What is happening with the secretaryship of the PDP? The same thing. When you see clearly that the party, and who is the party? The party is the national, the chairman of the party, the secretary of the party, publicity secretary, the what do you call it? The legal advisor and all that. These are the people that owns the party. So when you talk about Emeka Bekee, still, I know, like I've told you in one of our discourse here, that Tony Okocha is just, going about his natural business, because the Emeka Bekee tenure, which was invalidated on the 12th of August 2024, will be ending in this 2025. And when it ends, believe you me, the national of APC, led by Ganduje, will not conduct any new congress in Rivers State. Tony Okocha will just have a smooth sail. And even as it is now, the national recognize him. The president, who is the national leader of the party, in the person of Ahmed Bola Tinubu, is working hand in glove with Tony Okocha. If there is any correspondence from the national, it flows from Tony Okocha. So what is in it that Emeka Bekee and his camp are fighting for? The governor of Rivers State, whom they are supporting, whom they are getting their ESTA code from, is now suspended. Where are they getting the funds for them to function? If there is any election to be conducted, it's the national that sells the form. It's not the state. So where are they driving their power? You're not talking that because from what Darlington Wuju said, I listened to him, yesterday on the radio, where he was making all those statements. But the truth of the matter is this: Tony Okocha, who is interfacing with the federal, with the national, is the person that is in poor position. He is the person that holds the mandate of the national on behalf of APC in Rivers State. So those people should go and rest, because given this issue, if there is any correspondence, if there is any election to be conducted, if there is anything to interface with a state body led by its chairman, it's Tony Okocha that will be called. When Nelson Wike is calling that APC will be drafted into the reconciliatory move with the suspended governor, he's talking about Tony Okocha, because Tony Okocha has received a lot of thunderbolts. Tony Okocha was also the person who went to court when he was the CTC chairman of APC in Rivers State. He went to court and challenged the October 5th event that happened in the name of local government elections in Rivers State, and at the end of the day he got victory. So that is why Nelson Wike have said that APC, when he's talking about APC will be in the reconciliation table, he's not talking about Emeka Beke. He's talking about Tony Okocha, who is the person who took the Rivers State government, led by Similare Fubara, then as the governor, to court and say that the illegality you want to institute through the local government election will not stand. And he took them to court, and at the end of the day, it was among the judgments that the Supreme Court affirmed that led to the sacking of those people who took charge of the local government then. So I wouldn't know whether interlocutory injunction, because Darlington Wuju has acknowledged that an interlocutory injunction has nullified.
No, he said it's it's not a judgment.
It's not a judgment,
but an interlocutory injunction.
But he has acknowledged it.
Hold on. However, the court cannot dismiss a suit via interlocutory injunction.
Yes, I know.
Because that suit was dismissed. That suit was dismissed. In fact, let me read it again. The appellate court held that issues concerning the internal affairs and leadership of a political party are not justiciable.
Yes.
Thereby nullifying, the court cannot nullify an order of a high court via interlocutory injunction. No. It says thereby nullifying the earlier high court order and striking out the suit filed by Peter Ohochukwu on behalf of the dissolved State Working Committee led by Emeka Beke. So now, the camp of Tony Okocha is celebrating it as victory, right, as claiming that the decision has affirmed Tony Okocha as the party's chairman in the state. However, the camp of Emeka Beke is saying that the camp of Tony Okocha misinterpreted this
judgment.
Yes, and they said it's not a judgment, but an interlocutory injunction.
If it's an interlocutory
injunction, it did not invalidate the subsisting High Court judgment affirming Beke's leadership.
No, Darlington Wuju misinterpreted what the judgment, because I'm sure that they must have filed they must have been called upon to come and represent themselves at the appeal court, is it not? They went to the appeal court, and the appeal court striked out their defense. The appeal court striked out the suit of Ohochukwu
filed in favor of
Emeka Beke.
Yes,
that is what I'm saying. Hence, it was struck out, and it is an appellate court. I don't know why he will be mixing it up. Hence, the appellate court did not entertain their suit. The appellate court did not entertain their suit to come and challenge what the Tony Okocha's faction has instituted, challenging that particular August 12th, 2024 judgment. He said that there will be no need of entertaining it. Hence, it is not justiciable. It is not, because if the appeal court now entertains it, what are they going to look at? If they entertain it and say we are going to look at the merit and demerits of this case, that means they are now they're becoming an medusum interloper in a case that is a family case, which is a political party internal affair. So what does that tell you? It tells you that it is not justiciable, because even the High Court that even entertained it and gave a judgment erred. You've had the Supreme Court even throwing out and even cautioning lower court for entertaining cases concerning internal affairs of the party. We have seen it now. So what is the basis? What is the locus of Darlington Woju? What is he speaking from? What locus does it have to speak?
Interlocutory injunction locus.
Interlocutory injunction locus.
He said that clearly.
No,
right, he said that clearly. But probably the matter will still be appealed to
you see,
Supreme Court.
but the precedence has been set here and there. The precedence has been set even from the
precedence doesn't stop you
from seeking prayers,
interpretation, because the learned fellows will always say that no two cases are exactly the same.
But in Rivers State, they wanted to make it the same.
No two cases are exactly the same, and this now brings to mind similar crisis ongoing in Rivers State PDP.
Okay.
Even now, and in the interesting twist in Rivers State PDP is that the court went ahead to appoint
CTC for them.
The court went ahead to appoint no, it wasn't a CTC.
Okay.
The chairman and the people he will work with. After the court appointed their own, Debo Ologunaba appointed Ewo. Right?
Yes.
And then we now have the chairman that emanates through the Congress.
That is,
so in River State, actually, we have three factions. Aaron Chukwemeka. We actually have three factions.
Yes.
One is the High Court's faction.
Yes.
Two is the Ologunaba faction.
Which Ewo represents.
And then we now have
a Congress-led.
We have the Congress-led faction. And you recall that the High Court annulled the PDP Congress and then appointed its own
and
its own now, the interesting thing is this: going by this position by the appeal court and the precedents that have been set in Supreme Court, I am interested to know how it's going to pan out for PDP, considering as well that no two cases are exactly the same.
But Laurentia, but you look at it that those three factions in the PDP now, just like we have in what is brewing in APC, giving the judgment from an appellate court. And if we go through the precedents, though, let us assume without conceding that it is a different case that needs interpretation. But the interpretation will boil down to the same precedents that have been set. Because if a case moves to the appellate court, challenging that verdict or the judgment of Justice Apiroko of 12th August 2024 that validated the chairmanship of Emeka Beke, then the Tony Okocha faction went to the appellate court. The appellate court looked at it. Laurentia, did you hear of what happened at the Federal High Court as it concerns the defection case brought about by Labour Party and one other party concerning Martin Samuel and his brothers? And what the High Court now, the judge there now got sense in our local parlance. He said that this case has already been decided by the Supreme Court. Why didn't he entertain it? He would have entertained it and saying that it is coming for them to seek interpretation and let him hear their prayers. Even when the case came up before the Supreme Court judgment, they tried to fast track it. And they said, hold on, this particular case you're bringing, I think I'm seeing something like that at the Supreme Court. That we should wait until the Supreme Court adjudicates. The Supreme Court adjudicated. Instead of those solicitors going to withdraw their cases, they insisted that the court should hear it. When it came up for hearing, what did the judge say? The judge said that this case had been done with at the Supreme Court, and he struck it out. So that is exactly what the appeal court has done here, in this bringing an internal crisis or internal affair of a political party to the appellate court. Appellate court say that this case should not even be heard ab initio by the lower court, which is the precedence that the Supreme Court has set. We are not lawyers, but at least we read in between the lines. Those judgments are not written in Greek or Hebrew now.
Let me quickly bring to mind. I now recall the court-appointed PDP school, Edwin Woko.
Yes.
Love Otonye and two others.
Yeah, two others.
In fact, let me just give you a quick rundown.
Yes.
He said, a River State High Court in Port Harcourt nullified the Ward, Local Government and State Congresses of the People's Democratic Party conducted in 2024. Justice Stephen Jumbo issued an interlocutory injunction restraining the executives who emerged from these congresses from functioning as officers of the PDP in the state. The ruling followed the suits filed by two Port Harcourt-based lawyers, Edwin Woko and Love Otonye, along with two other party members, against the PDP national chairman, the state chairman Aaron Chukwemeka, and 9 others. The applicants had prayed to the court to nullify the congresses held on July 27, August 10, August 31, 2024, alleging that they were conducted in flagrant disobedience to court injunction issued on July 16, 2024. Now, the prayers that they also made is this. The claimants argued that the congresses violated the court orders and requested an interlocutory injunction to 1. Set aside the congresses held across 319 wards, 23 local government areas and the states, and restrain Chukwemeka Aaron and others from acting, representing or parading themselves as members of the PDP State Executive Committee. Other prayers include to declare themselves, to declare them, the claimants, as the authentic and subsisting members of the PDP State Executive Committee, not caretaker. State Executive Committee, and direct the PDP and its national leadership to recognize and deal with them accordingly. So, after hearing the judgment from both sides, Justice Jumbo upheld the applicants' prayers, nullifying the congresses and restraining Chukwemeka and other respondents from acting as executives of the party in the state. And he said, the court recognizes, I am quoting the ruling. The court recognizes the applicants as the authentic and subsisting members of the Rivers State Executive Committee of the PDP. So now the court reinstated them as SEC members of PDP.
You know,
so the issues are slightly different but similar as well.
But you know that during the time this judgment came, we discussed it here, and I said that this particular court judgment erred in its ruling, you know, in the statement it made, because if you say that those people are now recognized, I now ask the question: if the national, assuming without considering that the tenure of Aaron Chukwemeka had elapsed, I remember vividly what I asked then, rhetorically, say that assuming without considering that it has elapsed, who will you say that, okay, carry on until a substantive Congress is being held? Will you go and forming another executive when you are looking for a time frame to conduct a Congress? That was the question I asked then. And is it that the court will appoint, what's his name? The person that went with his group for that prayer? Edwin Woko. Or the national will appoint a caretaker committee to oversee and conduct the elections. So these are the, and if you take a leap back, you find out that everything boils to internal party affairs, which the Supreme Court has affirmed. So, and now an election was conducted in the ward level. The ward members came to local government. local government and ward members came and elected the state ESCO. So which one in the eye of the pronouncement of the Supreme Court is now the one having the powers of the people that own the political party? The power resides with the people that owns the political party, and that is why you see what Abure is pursuing now is like somebody who is chasing the olive branch. Olive branch is in our imagination. We have not seen an olive branch. You understand? And so, because the power resides, the Supreme Court handed it over to the powers to nominate the leaders of political parties back to the members of the political party.
All right.
So what Emeka Beke is pursuing with Darlington Wuju is in nullity already.
Right.
Because even what Tony Okocha is saying, okay, let's assume, without considering that they are the people who are holding the APC in Rivers State, like I posited when that judgment came. After seeing off their mandate, which ends this year, what will become of them? Will they go to the national and seek for re-election, or ask the national to come and conduct a fresh year? So they are just, in fact, they are just rendering themselves impotent in the political space. Because Senator Fobara, they are now camping around. Even if Fobara comes back, he's not going to deal with them, because if these truths will be achieved, Tony Okocha will be in the midst. If Tony Okocha comes in the midst now, Laurentia, what becomes of Emeka Beke? In this space, let him tell himself the truth.
All right, very well.
That if a truth is achieved, if Semenyo Fobara comes back, with what the city minister have told us, those who will be in the peace meeting, Aaron Chukwuemeka will not be there. Tony Okocha will be there.
Aaron Chukwuemeka,
Emeka Beke will not be there. Tony Okocha will be well represented. And we are now hearing that the governor, I sent you something that the governor and his people, his media aides are now talking that the governor should defect to APC. If Fobara defects to APC, he's defecting into whose hands? If he's seeking, the only thing is that I know.
Interesting time.
You know, Laurentia, I even know that even Fobara seeking for truth. Let me say this for free. I've said it before, maybe last 2 weeks. If Fobara gets a truth, let him just quietly go about the remaining 2 years. Let him go about the remaining 2 years, because with what has happened, no politician, I repeat, no politician will entrust, no matter how this, even if the angels come down to mediate in this peace moves, and Fobara comes back, no politician will trust Fobara with elective position, that this one that is going to be his last term. All right. If he gets it, who knows what will happen. So I know that politicians that are working with him are not politically blind. So